resources rather than money, where people have access to whatever they need without the use of money and credits. Tshireletso Mati is spokesperson of Us the People. Tshireletso, thank you very much for joining us. First of all, how was this party brought together? Give us the history.
Well, thank you for having us, John, and good afternoon to the listeners of SAFM. Well, Us the People is a political party that was formed by young people in 2020, in January 2020, when young people got together and forced a way. I mean, we have seen throughout the history of the democracy of this country that young people do not have a platform where they can make decisions that affect their life. So we came together and formed a political party that does not depend on the current system and the current prevailing politics and politicians who have actually ruined people's lives and have not impacted people's lives in any way. So as young people, we sought to come together and forge a way for ourselves and to make decisions for ourselves.
I'm going to be very honest with you when I read your manifesto here. People grow their own food, use solar power, and purify their own water. A society where people don't work strenuously to earn money. There is mutual aid, and children are taught ways of the future, not to chase money. The core of money lies control and manipulation of the people. Sounds fantastic. How's it going to happen?
Well, John, it must be an observation that anyone can make now, that the current system has only led to misery. And it is because people have been taught to depend on leaders from a very young age. People are taught to depend on leaders. Now people depend on the government to provide water for them, to provide electricity for them, to provide shelter. And it is not things that we should be expecting from government. People must be able to get together as communities and provide for themselves whatever we need. I mean, you can clearly see from developments in politics in South Africa and in Africa as a whole that the leaders who have been elected and entrusted with taking care of the interests of people have failed. I mean, their only interest is leadership. They are only interested in leadership. They are elected in their parties. They are elected in their parliaments in their country. They even fight to be elected in parliaments in Africa. So people's interests are not being put forth. So it is only through the people taking responsibility to make sure that they have what they need. I mean, we must not expect things from a leader. We can be able to come together as communities and agree on what we need and provide what we need for ourselves.
So why stand for election if you're against this very idea?
Well, obviously we have to participate in the current system in order to change it. I mean,
why not just start a community organization, do it yourself?
Well, in terms of community organizations, I mean, even church organizations contest elections. The political space that is provided by elections give us an opportunity to put our ideas in society. As we are speaking now, it is because of the coming local government elections, which Us the People is contesting. So the elections provide us with an opportunity to put our ideas to the people so that people can be able to absorb the ideas and actually actualize them, because without participating in the current political system, it will not be possible to get our ideas across and to actually show people that this thing is possible. I think.
Okay, have you got a place, a region, an area where your ideas of no money, everybody not having to work hard, purify their own water? Have you got an area where that has worked in South Africa, where you have managed to do that?
Well, it is happening everywhere. I mean,
where?
Everywhere in South Africa. I mean, people do not need government, and it has even culminated into court cases where the courts have taken away responsibility from local governments for providing water, for providing road maintenance, for providing simple services. The courts have actually declared in many instances that the local governments have failed and given that responsibility to the people. even according to the legislations of the country, it is allowed for people to provide services for themselves and claim their taxes back from their local government.
Okay, so let's take a simple thing like that's a human right, water. Okay, there's a community of, or let's say there's a current ward in Johannesburg of 50,000 people.
Yes.
How would they get water to themselves? There are no rivers. The rivers aren't good enough in Johannesburg to do that. They need to get water from the Valdam. So how does this ward of 50,000 people that you've now been elected for get water and purify it themselves?
Well, the same way it is happening now, people are able to get water on their taps, and we have no intentions to stop the current processes. We just want to take away the power and authority to make decisions away from the local government, away from political officials, to the people.
But these the people in the position have been voted for by the people, so they are allowing these people to make the decision.
Of course, I mean the power that is given to ruling officials is from the people.
Yes,
and it is obvious that when power is concentrated in the hands of a few elite, it will be abused. That is why we are seeing now. I mean, as we are speaking now in Johannesburg, there's a problem of water. We are having a problem of electricity. And it is because of the elected leaders who want to push particular interests. But in terms of providing services for ourselves, people have always been providing services for themselves, and there's infrastructure that enables that. So there's no hindrance for the people to make decisions on their own behalf.
Okay.
Instead of giving the responsibility to politicians.
So if there's a leak in the road or there's a leak in a water pipe, somebody in the community must then go and fix that water pipe because they can. They don't have to go and phone Joburg Water. They can just do it themselves.
Absolutely.
Okay. How does that person
can fix it?
How does that person put food on the table if they're not getting money then to fix the pipe? They have to use resources to fix the pipe. So how do they get food on the table for their family?
Well, obviously we pay taxes. And people are professionals according to the skills they have. I mean, everyone has a skill and everyone has something to offer to their community. So people who grow food will continue growing food. People will continue to do what they are doing without any problems. I mean, it is not a complex thing.
No, but you're not answering my question. There's a plumber who's now gone, and he has to hire 3 people, and 4 people have worked on the pipe.
Yes.
That's what they do. They fix pipes in the community. Yes. So how do they now buy clothes, supply food for their family, and pay school fees?
Well, with the same public funds that are put together by us as taxpayers. I mean,
so with our taxpayer money. The taxpayer money is not going into the fiscus. It's being kept amongst that ward of 50,000 people. And with that money, that cash, they will pay people.
That is how things are happening now, right? In a centralized manner. So communities need to be able to control their own money, the rates and taxes that we pay. That even now, we saw last week, Johannesburg has announced ridiculous rates and tax increases, but the people in terms of services and service delivery are not experiencing that, but they are continuing to pay the taxes, they are continuing to pay the rates. So instead, people must take control of their taxes, people must take control of the budget of their own community.
But one of the things right at the beginning, I said you would rather use resources than money. So you still want cash. You still want money to be run and managed.
Well, obviously, the gradual processes that will lead to the ultimate free society where we don't. I mean, money is just a form of social agreement. That if you'll be able to do this for me, and your
backed by governments that you don't, backed by a state that you don't want. You don't want a state of South Africa.
Absolutely. I mean, we do not need the state in its